This is an open letter to Mr. This is an open letter to Mr. Justin Trudeau and Mr. Mehdi Hassan, who happens to be a reporter on or presenter on I think CNN, and the whole of MSNBC and all the progressive crowd who think that who believe and who vocalize their idea that free speech absolutism is wrong and hate speech should be deleted, suppressed, covered up. Hate speech, they define hate speech, and obviously the definition of hate speech is anybody who says something that I don't agree with. Anybody who says something bad about me, that would qualify as hate speech. And of course, I never do as a hate speech because it's me. So here's to you folks who have an issue with free speech, and you have an issue, and you believe that hate speech should be diminished, covered up, silenced, suppressed, whatever. We don't want to see hate speech on Twitter or anywhere else. Okay, I think hate speech should be praised. I think hate speech should be. I think hate speech is essential to the life of the society. A healthy society needs to have hate speech in it. There are some hate speech has to be allowed. Not some. Whatever there is hate speech should be allowed, is essential to the existence of a normal society. Let's see if you can follow the reasoning, folks. It's quite simple. Have you been to the pharmacy? Have you purchased these medications? Over-the-counter painkiller medication. They're very weak painkillers that you can purchase over-the-counter, like aspirin and Tylenol and ibuprofen and all of those, right? These are very weak painkillers, work on the pain receptors in order to suppress their activity so you feel less pain. They're over-the-counter, purchased over-the-counter, and they're very weak. However weak they are, if you have paid attention to the bottle, it always says that if you have to take more than 4 of this weak painkiller, more than 4 pills or whatever, 5 pills, 6 pills, depends on the product and the company and supposedly on the concentration of the active ingredient in the pill. But they mention it. They give a number. They say if you have to take more than 4, for example, in a 24-hour period of this pill, then please contact the doctor. Stop taking it and please contact the doctor. A doctor. Why do they say that? They say that for the simple reason that pain is a reflection of an inflammation somewhere. Your head, your toe, your balls, if it's inflamed, you sense pain. Injury leads to inflammation, inflammation leads to pain, sensation of pain. Okay. So if the injury or that feeling of pain, if it's a headache, if it doesn't go away, sometimes it has environmental factors, which means it's a very very weak reasoning to exist. So by taking a few pills, you're trying to get rid of the headache, because of the headache has come because of environmental factors or food and weather or whatever it was, or some bacterial or flu or whatever. You get a headache. A few pills should take care of it in a day, in a 24-hour period. But this headache can also be because of a tumor in your brain. So the pill guys say that if you have to take more than 4 of this motherfucker in a 24-hour period, please call a physician. What they're saying is that your pain is a result of inflammation. Now, if this inflammation is a very, it's something simple and it will go away within 24 hours. If it's because of something simple such as a weather or a flu or whatever. But if this headache keeps on insisting and you have to take more than 4 pills in a day, and then you have to consistently keep taking this fucking pill, then don't take it. Go to a physician, because it's probably a fucking tumor. There is a worse problem. There's a bigger injury, whether internal injury, injury from an internal source such as a tumor, or injury from an external source such as a bullet. Anyway, they say for whatever reason, if you have to take these painkillers for more than 4 pills in a 24-hour period, go see a physician. Simple. Pain is because of inflammation. Inflammation is because of injury. So go see a doctor, fix the injury, not the pain. Fix the inflammation. If you fix the injury, you results into dissipation of inflammation, and then results to pain going away. Well, this is the same thing, the same way that this example with regards to human body I explained works, the same way that this works, it works in the body of a society as well. Where does hate speech come from? Hate speech comes from frustration. Hate speech comes from frustration. Frustration comes from injustice. Just like pain came from inflammation, which came from injury, hate speech is another form of pain. It causes pain. It is pain. It's coming from a painful place. A hate speech is not coming from a happy place. It's coming from a painful place. The guy hates something for some reason. So you have to let it come out, because it's not the problem. The hate speech is not the problem. It's a symptom of a problem. And the problem is not the guy. The problem is the injustice that the guy has felt. The injustice has caused frustration for the person. Frustration has led to hate speech. Injury has resulted into inflammation. Inflammation has resulted into pain. Injustice has resulted into frustration. Frustration has resulted into hate speech. Simple, really. So, the solution is not to, suppress the pain. The painkiller suppresses the pain. And your idea about let's suppress hate speech, and first let's define hate speech, and that is anybody who says something that I don't like. That's hate speech. That's how it works, right? You keep calling, for example, this is what I'm saying. The Europeans in West Asia keep calling the local brown skin, the European pink skins in West Asia, keep calling the local brown skins as terrorists. And you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, from that perspective, of course they're right. They're terrorists. But then you look from the other side perspective, and the other side says, well, these guys are invaders. So we have the right to defend ourselves, because these guys are European invaders. They're not locals, because they're not short or brown. They're tall Europeans. They're tall, fair-skinned Europeans. So, but you don't suppress the Europeans in West Asia calling the locals as terrorists, but you suppress the other side's speech, where the other side calls these guys as invaders. You say, no, that's hate speech. So it all depends on which side of the table you're sitting in, Mr. Trudeau. So my point is this. Just like if you suppress the pain, you're not solving the problem. The problem is in the injury, which has led to inflammation, which has led to pain. Just like that, by suppressing hate speech, you're not solving anything. You're just increasing the frustration. You're just increasing the injury by suppressing the hate speech. By suppressing the hate speech, you increase the feeling of frustration, and you add to the feeling of the injustice that the motherfucker had in the first place. By suppressing the free speech, you add to the feeling of the injury that the guy has had, the feeling of frustration that the guy has had, and adding to the feeling of frustration that the guy already had adds to the feeling of injustice that the guy already felt. Because you're suppressing his speech, his hate speech. That's not the solution. The solution is hear the hate speech, not listen to the hate speech, not just hear it, listen to it. Find out why they feel frustrated, and then find out where the injustice has happened that has caused this motherfucker to feel so frustrated that he has to resort to hate speech. Simple. The source of the problem, just like an injury, a source of problem, just like the pain, the source of the problem is the injury, it's not the pain itself. The source of the problem with regards to hate speech is the feeling of injustice. So you gotta solve that. Why the motherfucker feels injustice, and injustice has happened? Has it happened? And what we can do to correct it peacefully. What can we do to correct this feeling of injustice that has happened here? This with regards to those truck drivers and their protests in Canada, as well as with regards to whatever Mr. Trump is saying and his followers are saying. You gotta listen to them. Obviously, they're saying some hateful stuff. Yeah, I understand. Hateful from your perspective. From their perspective, you're saying some hateful shit. Again, this hate is it's a matter of perspective. Depends on which side of the table you're sitting on. What you're saying is always right. What the other side is saying is always hate. So this feeling of injustice is there. These guys have had. Mr. Trump and other people that he's connected with, and a lot of other people. He got half of the votes. You know, your system is basically usually up to the ninth inning is 50-50. Then, you know, ninth inning somebody becomes 51, the other one becomes 49. So 50% of your population feel frustrated enough that some things that Mr. Trump has said felt true to them, they identified with. Now you have to find out what are they frustrated about, and then fix that frustration. What they're frustrated about, I can assure you, they're frustrated because they feel an injustice has happened. You listen to them, find out what feeling of injustice they've had, and then try to cure the problem, fix the problem, bring justice. And then the hate speech will automatically goes away. Just like when you know, cure a sickness, when you fix an injury, you take out the fucking bullet, the feeling of pain goes away. The same way, you bring justice, you listen to them. If they're talking nonsense, okay, fine. They're talking nonsense. You write a nice bit of reasoning for this reason and this reason and this reason and this reason. You're talking nonsense, and even if they don't accept your reasoning, other people will read this, hear this, that because of all these reasons, what those people are saying is nonsense, and most people have enough logic to, you know, if somebody is talking nonsense, they turn away. That people do have that logic. If you explain it to them in a peaceful, you know, reasonable fashion, you know, have a simple explanation for them, they can follow the logic. But the point is this: you have to listen to them and see what they feel what injustice they feel that it has happened, and they're telling you all the time, but you're just not listening. They feel a lot of their money is going towards war in faraway lands, whether it's, you know, fought by somebody else, you know, the Contras or the Shining Path or the, you know, Saddam, or, you know, this, that, you know, now, you know, Ukraine, whether somebody else is burning their tax money, literally blowing up their tax money, woo, boom. Okay, either somebody else is blowing up their tax money, or, you know, their cousin is over there and, you know, using their tax money to blow up shit. But anyway, the point is this: they feel there is an injustice. Their tax money is going and they don't have health care. Their tax money is going and they don't have housing. And their tax money is going and they don't have, you know, good education for their children. They keep paying the taxes, but then they have to save money and pay for education, health care, and housing as well. Apparently the taxes belongs to somebody else. Anyway, my point is this: you have to find out, fix the injustice that they feel, either explain to them that this is why this is justice, and explain it to them the way they understand that this is not an injustice, this is justice actually, in a way they understand and they agree with you. Or, so in that case, or fix it, or, you know, they feel an injustice and you listen to them and you don't have a, you know, good reasonable answer for them, so you do something to alleviate the injustice that has happened, alleviate the pain. When you fix the injustice, the hate speech will go away as well. Folks, this is quite simple. Hate speech is not the problem, it's a symptom. The problem is the injury, the feeling of injustice that has happened. You don't want to shut up the hate speech. You want to celebrate the hate speech because somebody is speaking up. Somebody has the balls to speak up. You want to celebrate that, so you understand what is the frustration, and by following that line of thought, find out what is the feeling of injustice that the guy feels, and then try to bring some kind of resolution to that feeling of injustice. And once you do that, the hate speech will go away. I don't know how many other ways I can explain this. So that's that. The more important, this is the reasonable avenue that I went. The second point is a very general perspective on the matter. Here's the thing, Mr. Trudeau. Your social media should be a true reflection of your society. And in a society, there are always some people frustrated about something because there is always miscarriage of justice somewhere. So you're always going to have hate speech in a normal society, because somebody somewhere has experienced injustice. And your perspective, and the perspective of, you know, security services and the police should not be, oh yeah, let them talk, we find out which motherfucker is writing hate speech or they're doing hate speech, then, you know, we go, you know, stick a dick up their ass. That's not what I mean. That's not that. Again, that's a, you know, that's a Saudi Arabian way of dealing with things. If you hear a speech you don't like, you know, you cut the motherfucker up and you flush them down the toilet, because, you know, the solution is not try to suppress. The solution is not to try to go after them in order to, you know, kill them or shoot them or disappear them. The idea should be, I want to hear hate speech. I celebrate hearing this hate speech. I enjoy hearing this hate speech because it's my job as a leadership to find out, okay, that's the hate speech. Yes, I understand. What is the frustration? Oh, I got that. The frustration is here. And then what is this frustration? What is this result of? Oh, this feeling of injustice that is here. So I need to fix that feeling of injustice. Either explain it properly, explain it why it's just. But a lot of times, injustice is just injustice. Most people can recognize injustice. A lot of times you actually have to go and maybe reverse yourself in certain matters. Say, yeah, that was a bad idea. Let's do it like this now. And in that way, alleviate the sense of injustice that the guy has. And in that way, organically, naturally, the hate speech will go away. You need hate speech in your social media and all other kinds of speech, because there is always injustice has been done somewhere, and you want to hear that. Any normal society, there is hate speech in it, and you want to hear it and you want to celebrate it, because it gives you a chance to find out where injustice has taken place, where to look for if I want to find injustice anywhere, I have to, you know, be informed. Oh, there's a hate speech here. The sense of frustration is here. Why? Where is the injustice? Where the injustice has happened? Is it really injustice, or this guy is talking out of his ass? If this guy is talking out of his ass, okay, I provide a good explanation to the public, and the public will decide whether they accept my explanation or not. And if you really find out that injustice has happened, you fix it. You say, I'm sorry, we were wrong. This injustice has happened. We have to change our policy to do it like this, so this guy doesn't feel he's been wronged. And in that way, organically, you get rid of free speech. You get rid of hate speech. I'm sorry. You get rid of hate speech. Free speech absolutism gives you the true reflection of your society. Free speech absolutism, that means you have to hear the hate speech. You have to feel the pain, Mr. Trudeau, Mr. Mehdi Hassan, or Hassan Mehdi, whatever it is. You have to feel the pain to know there is a problem. Hate speech is equivalent to pain. You have to hear it to see where an injustice has happened, period. If total free speech in your social media must be, because your social media should be a true reflection of your society, a true reflection of a society. It's not always hunky-dory. there's going to be some free speech because some hate speech because, you know, there's always some injustice happening somewhere. Folks, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard, folks.